Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to How to Win at Chess. This is a series where I play my Twitch subscribers, I go up the rating ladder, and this is the toughest episode ever because I'm playing 1800 minimum and 2500 at the very max. The last player will be higher rated than me in Rapid Chess. Now, before we jump into the games, the video is called what it's called because at some point in this video, I will drop a code and you can get 40% off any of my courses for the next few days. That's basically all I have to say. Let's get into the games. Game number one, I'm playing Inarid, 1796 rated player, and I'm going to begin with d4. And I think for this game, I'm going to play, it's actually funny, I was thinking to play a main line, but let's go for a Trumpowski. d4, knight f6, bishop to g5. I'm not going to be doing sidelines and everything, and trying to play like my specific courses every single game, but for this game, let's do it. Okay. Opponent is letting me take, but there is also the option to play e3, but I'm going to show why you even play the Trumpowski. Okay, g takes f6. Interesting. So gf6 is a damaging of the structure. It allows you to open up the rook like this. You're probably not going to castle this way. Now, the way white usually plays this is something with e3 and c4. I'm going to play e3 first. Most people here will play the move c5. This is very common. And now I have the option of taking or playing something like knight f3, for example, or knight d2 or c3. c4 is another option. Which do I want to play? I'm going to go with c4. So the best way for black to play this is not to engage in a bunch of swaps in the center. The most advantageous way that black can take, for me, is to take on c4, because that just helps me develop. That is not what black should be doing. Black, if anything, should take this, but actually the best move, I think, is queen to b6. And then the position gets really weird because this is a very soft pawn after queen b6, but so is the center. Wow. What is that move? What? I don't think I've ever seen that move in my life. Oh my gosh. What? So, what if I take? What if I take that? Then d5 is hanging. That already looks pretty good for me, but what if I take on d5? And then if queen d5, I drop my knight into c3. I mean, that also looks really good. But then if takes, they might take this one. Oh my god, it's so confusing. I have no idea. Quick variation. Take, knight c3, better for me 100%, because I can also shove my pawn forward. If basically one of us can split the defenders, like in basketball, we're going to be better. Position's always going to be better. So I am going to take on d5. Queen d5 here would be a terrible strategic move. Yeah, black probably should take on d4. And now I have a decision. I can give a check. Always useful to just look if the check is possible. I can also take on d4. Now, if all four pawns get traded, this doubled f-pawn is a misery in the endgame. Very bad. Which makes me think I should just take on d4. So if queen d5 now, maybe I just go back to developing like normally. Maybe with knight c3 or something. For example, I can take on e5. But then my opponent will actually get to transform the position advantageously. Maybe here I just play back to knight f3 or something. And I just leave the center exactly as it is. Knight f3 is an option. Knight c3, queen takes d4, take, and then I can hop my knight to b5. It's another way to play, or d5, by the way. And f6 is kind of hard to guard. You know, I gotta tell you, I like that a lot. Knight c3. Okay, well, clearly the opponent doesn't like what I'm trying to do, which is why they decided to pin me. I have queen a4 check. If knight c6, I can sacrifice, and then I can take. Wow, what is going on in this game? It's a wild game. I can also take on e5. Now, queen d1, rook d1. Jeez, I don't know. I gotta think. We don't have this check because queen b5, because we're pinned. This is a very common idea. Knight to c6, I can sacrifice my queen, get the queen back. Maybe even there I can play like bishop b5 or knight f3. And then we would play a middle game / end game. That's an option. Let's do that. Let's go for this end game. Queen a4 check. Knight c6. Now we're going to sack the queen. There's nowhere to give a check for me, so here's knight d5. Now, knight c2 doesn't do anything, because if knight c2 check, I move they take, and then I do the exact same thing back to them. It's very important not to just see this and freak out. Now I have the option of taking on e5, not taking on e5, giving a check. Bishop c4 is a move that I don't like. Anytime you can attack the knight, but it can just move the other way and counterattack you, generally not recommended. And knight f3 also allows me to be attacked. This is another thing you've got to consider anytime you're just making natural moves. How do they attack you? The reason I like bishop b5 is it kind of continues to make progress in the position, but I also like long castle. The problem with long castle is that the bishop can come to f5, and that looks pretty scary, which makes me think to give this check first. And, I don't know why my opponent is playing so fast. Can my opponent calm down, please? My opponent a high blitz rated player? 1650. Very, very balanced player, about 1650 to 1800, so... First game is already off to a hot start. We're gonna try to outplay an 1800 on a structural pawn advantage. That's basically our main advantage here. If we ever make this trade, it's kind of 2 and 1, which might end up versus this 3. King e7. Wow. Wow, that's how you know we're playing a good player, not just trying to trade every piece with us. Knight f3 is a move. Knight f3 is a move. Taking is a move. Knight f3, e4, I can drop back, attacking the pawn. I can also play take, and then castle queenside. See, I don't like that. I don't know if I actually want my king over here. I only wanted my king there in a situation where there's no bishops. Because if the bishops are traded, my king is safe. But if I castle this way and opponent goes bishop f5, my whole diagonal is completely cut, and I can't move my king off the file. I actually think this position is very dynamically balanced. Like, for example, a move like rook g8 puts pressure on my pawn, knight f4 puts pressure on my pawn, e4 puts pressure on my knight. It's not an easy position to play. e4 and f5 is probably coming for black. I'm gonna just have to win this by some sort of strategic measures. Now, here, of course, pawn takes d4 is a terrible move because it leaves black with a very bad structure for the future. So here we go back to d2. And there's that move. And now I'm just thinking to castle or win control of this file first. I don't know which one is better. g3 is also a good move to kind of control these squares over here, some of the dark squares. I'm gonna get my king out of the middle. And now that my pawn is stuck defending the center, I can play a move like knight c4, knight e5. And I'm always kind of contemplating whether or not I want to make that trade like bishop for knight to make it a knight versus bishop situation. I don't know, but I think black is completely fine. I don't think there's anything going on here. It's going to be a long episode. Okay. That puts pressure on that. I don't like how soft that pawn is. It really makes me want to play the move g3. I'm also wondering if I need to play that move, because g3 could just make a target. Very tough to tell. Can also play rook e1 with the intention to play f3. That is another idea that I have potentially. I kind of like that. I kind of like that the king is stuck in the center of the board, but this is still very possible. I still have f3 potentially in that position. Knight to f4 to attack my g2 pawn is met with g3. That's not like super scary. And then if knight h3 check, I can play king to f1, protecting f2. It's ugly, but it does the job. It's definitely not a position that I love, but it is what it is. And we will calmly await a move from black. Yeah, so far opponent is playing great. Very, very well. 1800 rapid is like no joke. I mean, I'm gonna have to... You know, basically my logic for these episodes is that I shouldn't just refute people in the opening. I mean, if they blunder, that's okay, that's another thing. But if they, I don't want to play some crazy, super secretive, you know, crazy line. I said crazy twice. Because the truth is, first of all, I'm going to be leaking some preparation, potentially. And second of all, like, that's just mean. People are trying to play like a game, and I'm out here just tryharding, and I don't think it's that good. It's not a great thing to do. I'm gonna go bishop c4. I want to target the knight. So bishop e6, like all these moves. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we anticipated that. This is hanging, so we should play g3. We're not threatening to take. We're not threatening anything. We have no threats. We have 0 threats. But I think f3 is an idea. I don't know about if it's a threat just yet, but it looks very unpleasant. It's sort of weird that you would want to push pawns in front of your king like this, but there's a difference between your king being abstract weakened and concrete weakened. Like, this is a concrete weakness because we're going to play f3, and then we're going to take on e4 because that pawn has nowhere to go because it's pinned to the king. Whereas we have an abstractly weak king, like knight h3, okay, we're getting checked, it looks scary. There's no actual threat, and if black really can't push anything forward because we'll just take everything. Which is sort of the problem with having a damaged structure, is that when you try to push it forward, you realize you have no backup because all your pawns are doubled or tangled or something, so... but we'll have to play faster. Okay, so f3. And this move may catch our opponent by surprise. And the thing is, it's all going to come down to psychologically how our opponent recovers here. Once you realize that you've made a mistake, it can be very tough to recover. So for example, I think bishop c6 is a very big mistake again, and here is why. Because after fe4 takes, knight takes, when we actually convert our extra pawn, they cannot take with the bishop, because then we take with the rook, and it's check, and we actually do win the knight. Right now, we're not threatening to win the knight. I just have to, before I autopilot this move, just make sure, yeah, everything is good. I think black has to move the king. I actually think black has no other move, otherwise black is going to get slapped here down the middle. And the worst part is you can only go to those 2 squares. You cannot go to d7 because of fork. Actually, I don't even know about that because that might hang another pawn. King d8 doesn't look right because it's sort of, you shouldn't be putting the king directly in between the rooks. It looks like you can really damage your circulation like that. Not to mention I have like d5. So I can shove this pawn forward because now I've won the center pawn. And yeah, opponent, I think, correctly chooses to play king f8. Okay. I still need to be careful with knight h3 looming. Knight f6, there is this, and I'm not so thrilled about that. I mean, I can go back to f2. I can also play rook d1. I like rook d1 because I think I want to play d5. If knight h3 check, I just go here. So let's just do that. I think my rook needs a friend. I cannot play this position with not enough pieces. Knight f2 is going to be a very useful defensive resource because it stops knight h3. Of course, going forward is also fine, but you should only go forward. By the way, if anyone is wondering why rook g6, knight h7, king g7. So you can sometimes take a pawn and its check and you just stop your thought process, but you need to actually play the move for your opponent in your head. You cannot just go, oh, I'm going to play that and that's it. So knight f6 here, but my knight gets trapped. It has no way out. That's the thing. You can't just go lurking in with a knight. You very well could get stuck, which is why I didn't play knight f6. Now, of course, a trade of bishop for knight here is a big boost for me. This is my best piece. And I didn't play rook f1 because of like check and takes. But if I can somehow block out this bishop and then attack on f7, that's a massive weakness. It's important to still identify all the softest spots of black's position. Like here, black has no soft spots. I have a big asset here. This pawn can push forward and take space away and be a big distraction. And that's very weak. Okay, so that's a threat on this. But I have my d5 move. So now I play this. See, that's the benefit of putting this and this. And you sometimes will be attacked, but you can block some of the guilty attacking party. And I think now knight f6 is an entirely different move because it attacks 3 pieces. And I believe that now we are just very easily winning. So we made the piece go back. Again, this is something we've constantly kept our eye on, but we're always safe with king f1 coming. Now, actually, we're also safe with just going... Oh, wait, no, we're not, because knight f2. See? Always need to... King f1 is a good defensive move. It looks scary, but it's abstract scary. There is no concrete follow-up. And now we're just winning. We're going to cash in on either the bishop or the rook, and we're very happy. So we managed to outplay our opponent in a mid to end game with pieces traded based on the pawn structure, based on the weak central positioning of the king, and understanding the difference between abstract and general weakness. Abstract and concrete weakness. Solid game, and this is what it takes. I mean, to beat 1800s, honestly. Like, unless you just smash in the opening somehow. Because our opponent was playing super confidently and actually had a pretty good grasp of the position, but then slowed down a little bit. Okay, so of course we're gonna take. Okay, so I don't see any reason not to take the bishop and then the rook. So now I actually have a way to win this and this by force. See, if I take this, the knight can go somewhere. But if I play check and then check, so king g7, then I will take with check. This has to go here, and now I'm just a rook up. And most 1800s here will resign. I will say that if you... I know I just made a video called Never Resign, and I know that I just made... I always say, like, you know, don't resign necessarily, make them play till mate. At 1800, you can probably safely resign here. Probably the 1800 will be able to convert, unless there's no time on the clock, in which case, yeah, play on. But this is very simple. I'm going to pick up some pawns, and okay, there's the resignation. But I would have won this by taking this, cutting off the king, and just probably making a queen. You're also more than welcome to take every pawn, and if you're super low on time, definitely take every pawn. That was a good game. That was a very decent game. I'm analyzing it now. I don't think e5 is correct, but I also will say I don't think I played the best move. But it's a very interesting idea. I think I'm supposed to move a knight out. And then if c takes d4, I'm supposed to kind of play like this. I think c takes d5 was slightly inaccurate because it lands me in an equal position. And equality is not the worst thing in society, but on a chessboard it kind of is. Yeah, black is actually already comfortable here. The computer likes black's position here because of the activity. That's what the computer really likes. So knight f3, and here, yeah, the computer loves black's position. Like bishop e6 and just slow playing it. But after rook g8 and all this, I think a6 was a little bit of a slow move. I think if black had blocked the king and then focused on my weaknesses and finished development, it would have been good. But because black started fighting without covering their own weakness, now black is much worse. So e to king is the problem here, and we managed to outplay from there. But yeah, very, very solid game from black there. Okay, now we're gonna jump ahead to playing a 2200. I've actually played this person before. He's 2500 blitz, so two 2500s. This game I'm gonna go for c4, and I'm also gonna tell the person that they played very well. All right, c4, e5. There's a lot of ways to play this. I'm gonna play knight f3. This is one of my favorite variations. It's very non-standard because it's kind of baiting black into playing a quick e4, but I'm gonna play d4 here. And this is equal, just like last game. Just fighting in the center here, like knight f6 is very standard, bishop b4 is very standard. Now, bishop c5 is not very standard. So, let's see what to do. I'm going to play knight c3. I always wait to see if my opponent will play this move, because it's not a good move. The bishop there is a big target, whereas the bishop in almost all Englishes should go to b4, and opponent is very well familiar with this. So let me take on c6. bc is what everybody plays here, but dc, believe it or not, offering this exchange of queens is completely fine for black, but very rarely do people do it. But we'll see if my opponent does it. And I am leaving this open. That is an option for my opponent to damage my structure. It leads to some very interesting positions. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And the way I want to develop is g3, bishop g2. I always want to put my bishop on that long-range diagonal. So c4, e5, knight f3 is one of these like small weapons I keep in my back pocket. Otherwise, like a knife. Knight c3, knight f3 is good. And also c4, e5, g3, very traditional English style is what I like to play. But, you know, I'm an international master. We gotta know a little bit about every opening, and I like to mix it up. I'm not one of these titled players who likes to play the exact same thing every time. Why is my opponent thinking so long? Just make a move. BC, there it is. Okay, so here I can play bishop d2 to anticipate this. Or I can bait my opponent into damage, to damaging my structure. I'm gonna go for g3. I'm not really worried if my opponent does this. We'll have a fascinating game of a damaged structure, but bishop pair versus bishop and knight. It is very tempting. It is very tempting, I must say, to take that knight. I'm trying to change the positioning of my chair. There we go. But my opponent also might fight with me immediately by playing knight e4, but now they cannot play knight e4. Now, why I like this for white, why optically this is really nice, is because this structure, in many situations, is super difficult to move. Because if you move the d pawn, the c pawn becomes weak to this bishop. If you go to d5, then the whole thing becomes weak. Like, you're not just weakening the center, you're weakening all these pawns. And just like last game, remember last game, we had 2 doubled pawns supporting a pawn? If you don't remember what I'm talking about, in the last game that we just played, we have doubled pawns supporting 1 pawn. You see that? We have the same thing here. If d5 is played, we have doubled pawns supporting 1 pawn, which makes the whole structure really fragile. And my structure is very nice. And I'm not worried about this, because we'll both have sets of doubled c-pawns, so they sort of cancel out. It's a very interesting position. It's very, very practical, like human-like position. Computer is just always saying it's equal, but I like to play it in Blitz, I like to play it in Rapid. I haven't played it in over-the-board much, because I only actually found out about c4, e5, knight f3, like, this year. And there's also interesting lines where they attack your knight, and your knight has to go here, so it's a nice way to freshen up the reverse Sicilian positions of c4, e5, because this is the Sicilian, but you're playing it with white, so you have an extra move. And that's basically it, and then from here on out, chess gets played. Rook e8, queen e7, very common, moving this bishop. Yeah, there's rook e8, I'm gonna castle, nothing complicated, and now the game of chess begins. Well, I suppose this whole thing is, my entire existence is based on the game of chess, but anyhow. I like the time advantage. Listen, it's not a blitz game, but time is very important. 2.5 minute advantage is big, and unlike last game where I was down on time but managed to catch up, this game I am up on time, and I intend to make full use of it later on in the game. So opponents only got 6 minutes now to figure out everything, which is really not a tremendous amount on the clock. And my plans consist of b3, bishop b2. I understand that if I play b3, I hang my knight, but you know, that's the plan. Not to hang the knight, but maybe queen c2 or queen d3. Queen c2 is a very flexible move. It defends this, it defends the center. What am I doing? This. And also, when the c file opens, the queen will add some pressure. It's a great move. It's like a super nice square. And if bishop c3, I then take with the queen in many positions and can team up with a bishop on this diagonal. There is d5. Okay, so that is the question of the entire game, whether that move is good or bad. Now, my first instinct is, of course, what if I take? If I take and they take with anything, I'm going to take with the knight, and then we can have a trade, and at the end I attack a rook. So that just looks like a free pawn. I imagine my opponent's idea is to take my knight first, and then take back on d5, but then I get the bishop pair, so I don't really understand what the idea is here. I also can ignore it. You see, I can play a move like bishop g5, which is a really useful move, pinning the knight to the queen and completely removing a defender of the center for black. That is another very useful move that I have. So here, if d4 to attack this, maybe I throw the knight into the center. Bishop g5 looks really good. I really like moves like that. Man, bishop g5 or cd5. cd5, bishop c3. Wow. And I want to maintain the time advantage. Do I play for simplicity or do I play something like bishop g5, take with the extra pressure? What do I do? Bishop g5, maybe bishop a6 is going to happen. Or maybe bishop g5, bishop e6 is going to happen to support the center. But that doesn't really support the center at all, does it? Because I can just take and the pin is still there. Wow. Folks, I don't know. They both look good. I gotta go with one. I'm gonna go with this. I don't know. I don't quite get it. I'm gonna stretch my back though. Ugh. I don't get it. I spent 98 seconds on that move. I could have played that move in 2 seconds. Yeah, there it is. So here it is. Now I have the bishop pair, and my c-pawns are now undoubled. And I think the good thing about this position is I always have things like c4 applying an extra level of pressure. But c4, bishop a6, if I take, I get hit with bishop e2. That is what I don't like. So we're going to need to figure something out here. First of all, rook e1 is one of the ways to figure something out. Bishop g5, again, is a way to figure something out. Queen a4 to prevent bishop a6 and apply pressure to the rook. This is a little bit stuck. I like queen a4. I need to start playing faster. That is one thing. I'm going to play rook e1. I think black has probably very close to equal, but not quite. And if I can get rid of this weakness and maintain my pressure on the center, I'm definitely always a little for preference just from the like visual standpoint because of my bishops, especially if I trade these pawns and then put my queen and my bishop on this diagonal. That dark squared bishop is going to be a killer on b2. It's just going to be completely unopposed on the open diagonal. But yeah, I mean, c4 bishop a6 is a ridiculous move. Like, that is so hard to see because obviously, you know, you see this diagonal, you just think black is going to defend the pawn, but black actually makes an aggressive move, baiting you to then take on e2 along with the rook defending and forking you. Tough. Chess is really tough at this level. But I'm back in the driver's seat in terms of time. My opponent's thinking. And something like knight e4 might happen. Gotta stretch. Oh, actually, knight e4 is not good because c4 is very strong now. c4 will completely remove the defender in the center. And again, like I keep saying, if I can trade a pawn like this pawn, I think I'm quite happy. But it's the thing. Chess is all about thinking. You don't actually know. Hmm. 2.5 minute time advantage again. Other ideas in the position could be something like bishop e3 or bishop f4, where the bishop will pressure the pawns. And then something to constantly wonder is what trades you want. Like, I've been mentioning this trade, but I would only ever play that trade if it guaranteed material gain. Is my opponent letting me play c4? I guess the idea is something like c4 rook b8, forcing me to take potentially. Maybe, well, the thing is, right now is the only chance I have to play this move. Or I anticipate that my opponent wants to play rook b8 and I play queen d4. Maybe that's an idea. I have to trust my instincts. Also now bishop g5, this damages black's pawn structure. Either pawn takes or queen takes. The more I can damage the structure, the better all my endgames are going to be. So I really like queen d4 because I think black is trying to move the rook. Now a really natural idea for black is try to make this move possible to kick my queen away. So something like queen d6. But queen d6 runs directly into bishop f4, and queen e7 runs into probably some bishop g5 thing. c5, and then I take. If they take my queen, I take their queen, and that's good for me. So definitely this trade now significantly increases in its value since it will force black into a damaged structure. Knight e4, well, I think what black wants is to trade this knight for this bishop. Because the resulting position, even at the cost of one pawn, will be an opposite colored bishop situation. So imagine here, take, queen takes. Yes, I win a pawn. Actually, no, I don't, because there might be some crazy discovered attack. But knight e4, take, lands black in an opposite colored bishop position, which is significantly better with open lines. Because a pawn really matters a lot less in an opposite colored bishop position than it would right now. If we end up in a situation of, for example, this bishop versus this knight, because we traded our light squared bishops, that's a huge endgame advantage. But opposite colored bishops are very different. It's very different. And that move is played. Wow. Ah, welcome to the big leagues. I like this stuff. This is good. I I don't want to do it. I do not want to trade those pieces. So I think what I'm going to do is play... I like that this is still only guarded by that. That is really nice, and I'm really liking this f3 idea to kick the knight out, but I also really like c4, removing the guard of the knight. c4, c5, and then I can move my queen somewhere. The question is, where do I move my queen? b2 will run into rook b8, so we don't like that. Queen with e3, there might be a danger levels with queen f6 attacking my rook. But then maybe I can move my bishop to a3. And then if knight c3, I have cd5, maybe? Let's think about this. f3, c5, queen slides back one square. The knight's gotta go. But also f3, the knight can just go by itself. It doesn't actually need to be escorted. I think I'm going to play f3, but I think black is making some progress. I think c5 is a big mistake now. Black should just move the knight to cover c4. Yep. I think progress has definitely been made here for black. I'm not as happy about the position as I once was. e4 only helps black, I think. And f4, the knight can just come right back, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Can the knight just come back? Let's just go bishop f4. Black has some time lower than me. I don't think I played this right. I don't think f3 was the best move. I think c4 was probably the best move, but it was very tough to calculate, and then it got very messy very quickly. I like the time, though. I like that my opponent is very low on time, I must say. Queen c5 looks juicy. Bringing my rook also doesn't look bad at all. I'm going to play this move. Some more pressure on the center. Always some tricks like this. Not right now, but just in the future. Queen c5 looks very nice. The good thing is that my bishop pair is felt. You can feel the bishop pair. That's a target, that's a target. The diagonal attackers are always kind of lurking, looming, and trying to do something. This is why I should have played queen c5, because now queen e7. Yeah, I just totally... I'm not playing great, but I'm getting by. e4, c5, probably. Counterattack. No. Well, how about rook e4? Rook e4, there might be rook d8. There might be a rook d8 there. So I don't like that. Maybe queen e4. This does look a bit more appealing, I must say, with the queens and the rooks. There is a check. I don't think I'm scared of it. I can actually just trade queens, maybe. Trade queens, and that maintains under pressure. Okay, so I have a nice trick. I have rook d8. The queen actually has to be the one taking. Because if rook d8, I have queen c4. So rook d8, queen d8. There it is. That's under pressure. Maybe bishop f1 here. Oh, is there bishop f1? Bishop d7? Oh my god, bishop d7? Wow. How about a queen trade? A queen trade, and I still maintain good endgame chances, I have to say. Like, black's pieces are a bit clumsy. Like c6, and now how about bishop f1? Where's this knight going? Knight's got to go back to b6 and try to go to d5. And then... where am I putting my bishop? Maybe... okay, this is not hanging. I still think it's not hanging because I have rook a1 and rook a7. Right, so now I can come to a7. And if I can get that, this is very soft. So the bishop pair makes... Probably I'm going to win this game because of time. Strictly because of time. This is impossible. Ooh, that's a blunder. Bishop to e7. It's very difficult to get this sandwich-style defense. You just run out of space. So, yeah, black resigns. But, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think I had the advantage during the duration of the game. Especially after d5. But... It was always very tricky. Yeah, see, the computer slowly but surely starts appreciating white's position. It thinks I should play queen b3. I actually have seen this move before, this kind of idea. And then you get this. And like I said, rook e2 is always possible, but I guess it's bad according to the computer. Oh, you trap the rook. Oh, wow. You can trap the rook and just kind of chill. Yeah, queen b3 here, I guess. A move like this, even though it guards the bishop, you notice that the queen always is helping out. And that's not a thing anymore because the rook is always soft. Wow. Queen b3. And the way I did it in the game, I still definitely had some advantage. Rook e1 is the best move. And should I have played c4 here? Yeah, the computer just says, dude, just go c4, stupid. What are you overcomplicating? Rook b8. cd5 or yeah, bishop e3 to take this pawn. Tough position. I think queen d4 was okay. Yeah, and the computer doesn't like f3. Yeah, it thinks I should just go c4. And c5, I said queen e3. Oh wait, it likes this? What about rook b8? Oh, just this? And what if queen f6 attacking my rook? Oh, just here. Wow. Defending my rook and counterattacking the rook and counterattacking the pawn and pressuring this pawn and pressuring this and pressuring this. Yeah, that's why I'm not a computer, and now black's best move is queen b2 looking for a queen trade. Yeah, I did not see queen b2, queen a3. Maybe in a classical game, but definitely not in an over-the-board, not in a rapid game. And yeah, black went back to equality, but we always had some pressure. We always had the bishop pair. We always had the weakened pawns on the queen side, and we ended up converting it. And even here, white is, yeah, plus 0.3, plus 0.4. Always pressuring a little bit, always a little bit. And bishop a2 wasn't the most accurate, but computer still thinks that black can hold this with knight c4. But nagging pressure, which kind of became a winning endgame. There you go. Welcome to master level chess. All right, I'm playing with the black pieces versus Samuel Stork, who's got a Teletubbies in the profile. I'm gonna play g6, and me. Bishop g7. This is going to be straight out of my g6 course. Knight f3 or knight c3. And I'm going to play c5. I'm looking for a beef eater. That's what I want. d5, bishop here, and then f5. And I think my opponent's not going to let me do that. Or here. Oh, sorry. Or taking my pawn. By the way, it's time to give you the secret code. Since this is episode 16, the code is SWEET. SWEET 16. Lowercase, uppercase, doesn't matter how you type it. That's the code. Okay. I can also play knight c6. Take knight f6 and d5, and the position becomes a Caro Kann actually, so I think I'm gonna go that route. I'm gonna play takes, knight f6, and most people here go knight f3, and then I will play d5, and we have a Caro Kann Panov variation, which if my opponent plays d4 is probably not very familiar with, and maybe we'll get a good position. So d5. You say, how is that possible? Like this position with e pawn and c pawn gone. I will set up an analysis board just so you see. e4 c6, d4 d5, take, right? c4, and then black goes for g6, and here the critical line is cd5. It's not knight f3. Black is completely fine in these lines. And now if we go back to the game actually looks exactly the same. It just took a slightly different move order because of the way this was played. Which is why my opponent is confused. So we've used the g6 course to transpose to a good line in the Caro Kann defense. And, yeah. Normally white should take on d5, and white does. And here if I castle, queen b3 is a decent move. Queen b3, did I say queen d3? Queen b3 defense. But here just taking is very good on d5, and that's just what I'm gonna do. Because normally your bishop isn't on g7 yet. Normally this is back, and this is on g1. Or rather, if this is here, this is not here. That's a better way of describing it. So the move order, keeping the knight back on g1 is better for white than putting the knight out to f3. So in this move order, white played a slightly inaccurate move because of the way the opening went. Because in this position, obviously, you're going to play knight f3. Yeah, now bishop c4. And here, there's a couple of moves. e6 is very solid. Knight c3 leads to an interesting position as well. Knight b6 to counterattack the bishop is very normal. A lot of options. What do I do? What do I want? Knight c3 take and queen c7 is a common idea. Hit the bishop. Pressure this diagonal. I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually not go for an isolated pawn position. I'm going to play whatever this is. Queen c7 here is very useful. Queen b3 defends the bishop and counterattacks me, so I'll have to castle. But I'm okay with that. And then you try to play against the hanging pawns. Those are when you have d and c like this. And we'll see how strategically gifted my opponent is. But of course, queen b3 is that's a very easy move. Yep, and now I'm going to castle. Now probably white will castle. And there's a lot of interesting lines here. Sometimes white even can play h4, h5 to create some sort of attack. To the uninitiated, that is a very weird thing to do. So I don't know if my opponent will do that. Bishop g4 runs into knight g5. This is a thing that my opponent wants. So I'm going to play knight c6 because the idea of this move is to play knight a5 and win the game on the spot. So probably it's good for my opponent not to allow that. And knight g5, I can always play e6. This is a super useful defensive move blocking the bishop's diagonal. And then ultimately I will play b6 and bishop b7 because my light squared bishop will be blocked otherwise. Okay. Now I've kind of made some progress. I've sort of kicked that piece out. I want to go here, actually, to attack the queen. And then if d5, do I have this? Can I, a little danger levels action here? That hits the queen. Queen b4, bishop d5. Queen b5, a6. I like this. I'm going to go for that. And then I'm going to put my bishop right here. So we are playing against the hanging pawns by blockading them. This is a very important step by not letting them go forward. And if we occupy the squares in front of them, what that allows us to do is load up the pieces behind the blockade. And then once we lift that blockade, we can win one or two of them. And the thing is, if we win one, very high chance we win the other. So bishop e6, d5, knight a5, very nice idea. All my pieces coordinate very well. And I'm a step ahead of white. So I castled first, which then let me create threats. Knight c6 is a move that, due to white's piece coordination, made white waste the move to defend the threat. And now we play bishop e6, winning tempo, rather than just doing this. And sometimes the best moves in the position are sort of hidden behind a tactical little shot like this, knight a5. Otherwise, d5 is just really good. You know, if the queen's on d1 or something and this is protected, I don't have knight a5, so... there it is, but isn't this just really good for me? Knight a5? I think maybe my opponent missed this move. My opponent thought for a while. So, yeah, queen b5, but might have missed a6. Unless I'm missing something. But I don't think I'm missing anything. I think after a6, white is in serious trouble. Because like I said, once we win one, we're probably winning the other one too. And 2 pawns up is very nice. I think my opponent just missed a6. Maybe they thought that after queen b5, I would play this move. Which, by the way, is also very strong. Because how do you guard c3? You would need to go to b1. See, here the thing is, if my opponent goes to b2, I have this. It gets even worse. I have that move. I can go b5 now. But don't get carried away. It's probably just better to take on d5. Yeah, I'm just going to go here. Now I'm just a clean pawn up. And it's going to get worse. I'm about to be up 2 pawns. Because I'm going to also win c3. And if I can damage the structure, I'm going to be even happier. But there is bishop f4. The game is not completely lost. But it's very bad. It's not completely lost, but it's very bad. And this is an 1840. So this is why it's good to understand how your openings can then become other sorts of positions. And the move orders And this comes from years of playing, you know, understanding that now we're in a slightly advantageous Caro Kann just because of one move. So a lot of strategic stuff at play here. The hanging pawn structure, how to play against it. There's bishop to e2. Queen c3. Ooh, queen c3 looks really good, but there might be a danger level there. Bishop d2 hits my queen and the knight, and the rook is guarded. Yikes. It's never too late to do something stupid. So b5 is my next idea. I think my opponent wants to throw the queen over there. It's only logical, right? I mean, you might as well go all out. So probably I should just take on f3 if I'm being honest. Probably just take this and just take my advantage and go chill. But I do like a move like bishop c3, for example, just attacking the rook. I don't see anything wrong with that move. And then if rook b1, maybe even b5, bishop a2. Just completely grab everything. I'm going to go that route. I'm going to take everything. It's all there for the taking. I just said if you win one of the pawns, you might as well win the second. So I don't really know why I would backtrack on that. So bishop c3. Now I'd really like to take this. So I'm going to go b5 and get rid of the queen. And we are a very healthy 2 pawns up. Now, of course, queen a4, queen h4 is probably just the best move from a practical standpoint. I mean, you might as well. And then I gotta tell you, I don't know about taking this pawn. It traps the rook, but I really don't want to get mated. That's how quickly things turn around in chess. Like, this has to be played. The opponent is not playing great, unfortunately. This traps the rook now. You can't do this. You can't. I mean, everybody's different, right? People are different. Everyone's gonna play a bad position differently, but you know, b4 there is still the option for white to sacrifice. So I think I'm gonna play this, but it's not so simple. Not so simple. Again, never too late to hang a piece and all that good stuff. So let's go, yeah, let's play bishop e4. The rook is completely trapped. I think the best thing for white to do is to give me the rook for the dark squared bishop, because the dark squared bishop is defending all this. All this. So if you get my dark squared bishop, I'm going to have some weaknesses. Which is why I was considering maybe even bishop b2. If I take the rook, they take like this. But there's tactics all over the place. And then if I take like this, there's rook b2. So I think I do want to keep my dark squared bishop in a perfect world. Ah, there it is. I called it. Called it. And there's no stream sniping. No one can hear me. It's just me here. You know what I could do? And there's moments where knight c4 can become possible, but I would need to move my bishop out of the way. That's funny. Just getting the bishop out of there without taking anything. Maybe rook b8 and b4? That's another interesting idea. I really just want to get rid of this knight. This knight is so annoying. It's so annoying. But then, of course, I'm allowing that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skedaddle. Ironically. I don't want to. It's completely fine. Like, bishop b2 is probably completely fine. But then I would need to always play a move like f6, and I don't know. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm not thrilled about it. I like knight c4. I like knight c4 without losing this. Very common beginner mistake to play a move like knight c4, forgetting that there is it's something there, you know, with queen defending. Bishop. There's rook b4. That attacks me. I'm going to play knight into c4. And hope that my opponent hangs a queen in one move. That would be really nice. Queen b3 is the only move that is safe with the queen, or else bishop c4. But bishop c4 lets me get exactly what I want. So queen b3 will probably be played. And then I don't know what I'll do. Bishop c4 is a threat, so maybe I'll just defend my knight. Can also slide back. Okay, well that is something I like a lot, because that's a trade of pieces. Bishop for knight is a big plus for me, and then maybe I'll wedge my bishop in to be defended by my pawn. a5 is an idea to attack the rook, and I have managed to keep my prized possession defensive piece over here. Rest of the game will be played by... Okay, this is definitely still the plan. Bishop d3. The rook will move. I can push, actually. I can push my c-pawn, believe it or not. I can just push, and then I can make it all the way down to c2 in some positions. Maybe I will initiate a trade of rooks. Maybe not. When the rook moves to e1, it's always got vision on this pawn, which I have to keep in mind with this queen. So there is another idea to like defend this pawn first by playing just something simple like rook e8. But that's so lame. But it could be the best move, because my rook is not playing. Maybe I will just go rook e8, so I never blunder anything. And you know, sometimes it's completely okay to slow play like this, because there's nothing wrong with it. We're not blundering any pieces. That move. Okay, so first, obviously, this is the thing that I think about. I mean, you could snap that. You don't even need to think too much. But there also is a pin. So we could go queen e5. In fact, I believe queen e5 wins the game. There's nowhere you can move this knight. If knight f6, I just take. Anywhere you move the knight, I take your rook. And I'm threatening bishop takes. So you probably have to guard your knight. That is the only way to guard your knight. Oh. Oh, wow. Nice move. Wow, I didn't see that at all. That's like vintage. That's pure danger levels right there. Nice move. Because my bishop is threatening to take. Wow, there's an attack on my queen. I didn't even see that. Pfft. I'm very lucky it's not just an outright blunder. I'm lucky I can still probably play some good move here. But I need to make sure I don't like blunder again, because I'm so shocked at how good that move was and that I missed it. Okay, I'm gonna go queen d5, and then I will do this. And yeah, see, now again we're gonna see the problem of me losing my bishop. There's going to be this check, and my king is gonna feel a little unsafe, but I think f6 covers. Even king g8 covers. There's no knight f6 because of my pawn. Okay, that's a move also. I think I'm gonna go back and pin the rook to the queen. Just make sure that neither one of them is comfortable anymore. That's still there. Never too late to blunder something. Never too late. Maybe we go queen f6 to counteract the potential danger. This move, I just block. Okay, well, I will very happily trade the queens. That is not even up for debate. Now e6 looks like I'm blundering a fork. I was not blundering a fork because there was this rook b8 move to get one of my rooks out of danger and counterattack the other. And now I am just cleanly up 2 pawns. We are in an endgame. There is very limited time on the clock. And I can defend everything and very slowly make forward progress. King f6, e5, e4, walk together. In positions like this, you're always looking at the open file. We control the only open file. We control more space. We have a blockade. And we are going to win. And probably we will win this by making sure we don't hang a fork like this on d5. That's an interesting move, I guess. I don't think it prompts too much of a response. Although if I'm feeling greedy, I can go here and immediately swarm that pawn. And then my bishop covers the only entrance points, which is pretty awesome. So I can play this move and now attack the king, because the king actually has no moves. Okay, and yeah, that's desperation mode. And now we have a beautiful move. We have rook to f3 check, deflecting the king, taking the rook, and forking the remaining knight. We actually did that in another game when we were cleaning up. Now that would be stalemate, by the way, but there's king moves. We'll go here. Don't stalemate. Take that. It's almost stalemate. Cut off the king. You could sack for the final pawn if you'd like. And now it's easy. Now there's no... That was nice. That was a good game. Very clean. And just trying to see here in this position. Yeah, we got to a good spot. And yeah, black is better after knight c6. The computer really likes black's position here. And bishop e6, it really likes. And after d5, white is lost. Like straight up lost, because white is just losing too much. And once white goes down 2 pawns, that is how you play against the hanging pawn structure. Bishop e6, and if the queen had gone like over here, I would have still gone knight a5. I just hope that's clear. I would have gone bishop d5, something like rook e1, I would have gone knight a5. And we blockade the pawns, we play e6, rook c8, rook d8, and we stockpile the pressure, because the pawns are not going anywhere now, right? So, yeah, nice game. Very satisfied with that one. We have 3 more games to go. This is a long episode. All right, I am white in this game. I've played c4, d4. I'll play e4 in this game. c6, Caro-Kann. And I will go with e5, the advanced variation, part of my e4 course. This one I'm going to take. Now, knight c6 is a decent move, but f4 is a very powerful line, which is why in my course I recommend e6. F4 is, this is my e4 course here, right on display. And now there's basically only one way for black not to get a terrible position. Black has to play knight h6. And that is so hard to find out by yourself. If you look into your courses, you'll see it. Knight h6 is an idea. And the idea is that in the future you'll go g5 to try to attack. Now, if you're unprepared and you just play natural moves like bishop f5, you can get an awful position. Because basically what I want is c3, and I just want to not let you take any of my pawns. Like, you gave me a pawn with this line, and black plays it. Black plays it. Okay. We're going to have some fun. The problem is that I forgot what to play after knight h6. I'm going to play knight f3. There's obviously nothing wrong with this move. And now I wonder what I'm supposed to do. Maybe it's bishop e2 or c3. I'll go c3. I'm trying to go b4. I don't want to let my opponent take. My opponent's trying to solve all their problems like kind of right away, which is get the bishop out, go e6 to take this pawn, put the knight on f5, and then play g5. And you play g5 because I can't take. And if I take like this, then I damage my center. But the thing is, if you do it in the wrong order, if you don't do it correctly, you'll just be dead lost. You don't do this correctly. If you play something wrong, which is why knight c6 on move 4 is a dangerous line to a well-prepared opponent, which is why you should learn your openings, intermediate and advanced players. And now I try to just defend the center. Now, a lot of people here play like e6, f6, because e6 is a supernatural move. Just trying to get this, and f6 tries to attack my center. I think both those moves are wrong. The problem is I don't remember. Problem is I don't remember. And clearly neither does my opponent, which is why my opponent is taking a lot of time. So here we go. a5. Okay, I know for a fact that is not a good move. I know for a fact that's not a good move. And it's just not a good move because it allows my bishop to live on b5 the whole opening. And I know this is bad. You cannot let my bishop land here and just stay there. Because the pressure on this is tremendous. The knight now doesn't pressure the center at all. And bishop e2 is another interesting idea, like bishop e2, bishop e3. But basically, anytime they go here, I'll play bishop, not there, b5, because it also re-enables b4. a5 was played so I wouldn't go b4, and bishop b5 is played so that I can always play b4. Like takes. But I also have bishop e3. But I also have queen a4. Queen a4 is very strong. And I think I'm going to play it now. And this is another problem with playing a5, is that I have this very powerful thing here. And now I can also throw my knight into the mix with knight d4 to add even more pressure on this knight on c6. And now we're really seeing the problems. We're really seeing the problems here. Black is in a lot of trouble. So rook c8 is basically forced. You don't have another move. But then, you know, bishop c5 is a little bit under pressure. But see, I've removed this. So now this bishop is standing offside, so I can play h3, g4, winning more space on this bishop. So everything in black's position now becomes rather suspicious because of the way this kind of opening went. So for example, rook c8, I can play h3. If the bishop dips back to f5, I can play bishop e3. And then if bishop c5, I have knight takes bishop. And then this, which is a little hard to see, admittedly. But it all stems from me completely dominating those queenside squares. My opponent is not feeling very comfortable right now. Their Caro-Kann is really being attacked. We're sort of using all of our nice center lock to go after the opponent. I don't exactly remember what the line is even after f4 knight h6, to be honest. I don't remember exactly what the line is here for black. It could be bishop g4, and then after this it's something. But I don't remember. That's the thing. So I with black in my course, Caro-Kann course, which you can now get for 40% off using the code SWEET16. There's knight h6. So that's all I remembered, but yeah, my course recommends e6 here. That's what my course recommends. All right. I am going to decrease my air conditioner. It's very cold. Okay, rook c8 has been played. I don't know why it took so long. I think there was basically nothing else. You gotta play rook c8. And now I really want to play h3 or b4. So what does my opponent want? Opponent desperately wants the castle, right? Is there any way we can make that, like, not happen? I'm very mean. I don't want my opponent to castle. I have knight c6, bc, bishop a6, but that's not... And this b4 move is really the thing. That is really... I would love to land that move. And then if b4, bishop e7, I can take on a5. I can also take on c6 and take on a5, but I can also just take on a5. I also can maybe... Nah. I was going to say move the bishop back and put my knight on b5, but that looks a little dumb. So here, back, bishop e3, bishop e7, because this is protected due to tactics. I always have some g4 ideas to try to trap the bishop. And then maybe there I can move my bishop back, like back to d3. And basically, if castles, I'll go knight b5, knight d6. But why am I trying to get my knight in there so desperately? If b4, bishop e, well, if b4, a4, let's just start with that. My opponent's probably going to take cb4, bishop e7. Am I threatening anything? We can both castle. Castles. I can take c6 and just bring my bishop back. Am I just clearly better there? Somehow... While I do have the advantage, my position looks a little delicate. Not gonna lie. Makes me wonder if I even want to play the move b4. Or if I just want to not open the queen side. Because I kind of like what I have going on right now on the queen side. I don't know why I would want to open that when I can just have a really strong central blockade with my knight here on d4. So for instance, if I take on c6, the pawn has to stand there, my queen stands here, and I don't need to play b4. But it's very, I don't know, it's very tough to... Bishop f5 is a thing. g4 will be met with bishop e4, so I'm thinking to just go bishop e3. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, I gotta tell you, like, visually this looks really good for white. It looks like there is just no play at all for black. You know what I could do is I could play knight d2, knight b3, and that is how I can defend my pawn, and that might be a problem for black. Knight d2, knight b3. b4 I like, but it opens the position. I'm not sure I am in the business of opening the position, but maybe I am. But I like this. Everything is being controlled. This knight, no moves. This knight, no moves. This bishop, very limited moves. And if I can just finish my development, get every piece into the game, fighting for the center, we can be very happy. And in case anyone's wondering, this is actually the first variation that I saw here, bishop c5. This knight will jump to f5, taking this bishop, which used to not be there. Then the bishops see each other, and the knight also guards the bishop. A little boomerang with the knight. So... Yep, there's bishop e7. I guess there is this check. It's kind of stupid, but it's there. There is a check, which I didn't even... Like, that didn't even occur to me that that is a thing. Maybe I just castle here? I think I'll just do that. I'm just going to play short castle. Just get my king out of the middle. And now we got to figure out what's going on with this pawn. Could just go knight d2 anyway, but I got to worry about f6 in some positions. f6 is kind of an always useful move to break out. I can go g4. I can go g4 now. And then f6 doesn't do anything. I'm going to do it. I'm going to attack the bishop. And yeah, see, now f6 is not possible because of knight e6. Some progress made. But now c5, I think, is hanging again. I don't know if it can only be defended with b4, but it looks like it. I can also move this knight. But then I would relinquish defense of that. So b4, take. Rook a8 attacks my queen. My queen can move to b3. It's not perfect, but it's doing the job. So I am just taking away all my opponent's breathing room. Although I did just realize there is knight d4. This is a move I hadn't really thought about at all. And then there is f6. So maybe what I should have done is taken the knight. That's probably what I should have done. I should have taken the knight and played b4. And then there's no counterplay. See, I made a mistake. If I take the knight, force the pawn there, then my knight lives forever after b4. I played this wrong. Now there's knight takes d4. I think knight d4 and f6 is how my opponent should play and try to break out. Try to do something. Fight against the regime, which is oppressing their movement. But I still like what I have going on. I still like it. It's just, it's sort of starting to crumble. Yeah, I probably should have taken on c6, but I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about chess. I don't know anything. My friend is inquiring whether or not I would like to go to the gymnasium soon. A takes b4. I can still do this. It's been renewed. The option to do this has been renewed, and I think I am going to do it. Yeah. I made the mistake once. I'm not going to do it again. I think my opponent really has no choice. I think they have to take. If they take on c3, I just move my bishop. They're starting to scare me. So now I think this is a totally different story, because now the move rook a8 is impossible because of queen c6. Yeah, the weakness of this pawn and the dominance of my knight in the center of the board just cannot be understated. My next few moves are very simple. bring the knight, or to d2, maybe even to b3, get the queen out of the way, and basically push. Just kind of push my pawns. Maybe even queen a6, a4, a5. A queen trade obviously helps me a lot because this is just such a big liability. And black has no movement, and I think black just blundered. Unless that's just an attempt to create total havoc. That was the whole point of keeping my knight on d4. And I will be picking up the rook. But like I said, it could be counterplay. This could be my opponent's way of just being like, dude, I hate my position. I gotta sacrifice. Don't go knight g4. Knight g4 looks good, but you hang your queen. Now knight g4 is the thing. Okay, so what do we do to stop the counterplay? I can take on f6. Like knight g4, hg4, queen g4 is mate. So this, and this looks like checkmate to me. I don't like that very much. So I'm thinking to play f5 or take on f6 and then take on e7 with check. That obviously looks like it is very promising for me. But I don't like that this attacks my rook. That is very unpleasant. Maybe f5. e6 f5 is stupid. Or just bring my queen back. Or just bring my queen back. I'm just going to bring my queen back. Why am I getting involved in any of that? Like, f5 is a really bad move because I go here and it closes everything down. There's no counterplay after that. fe5 opens my rook. I'm not sure black wants to get involved in that. There's no d4 if I bring my queen back, and I guard g4. I'm also threatening to go here, take the bishop, and then take the queen. So queen d1 is a nice defensive move, anticipating everything that my opponent wants. And my queenside blockade is still good. Yeah, there's rook b8, but that is the extent of the threat of rook b8, and there's no more rook b8. So, simple move. Ugh. Opponent only has 50 seconds, so it's crazy we have 2 more games. This is the longest episode. It's what happens when you get some really, really strong players in here. It takes a while. Takes a while to record all these games. Resigns. That was a good game, I gotta say. That was very clean. I don't know where my opponent went wrong. A5 was a big mistake. The position after c3 is plus 0.3 after e6. Oh yeah, I think it's just e6. I think it's like e6, knight f5, and g5. I think that's what's supposed to happen. Something like here, 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 g5. This is the line. And did I play it right? Bishop b5, queen a4. Queen a4 was incorrect, actually. Computer wasn't happy with it. It thinks that I should have just played this and kept this pin, but didn't pile on. But the way it ended up happening was I got a very nice position, and yeah, I played g4, and then here bishop c6 was the way to go. Yeah, bishop c6 was the way to go. So we got a nice and dominant position. Good. Happy with that one. All right, here we go. It might be a 2-hour video. d4. Let's play. What happened? Why did the game abort? That was so weird. Okay. Let's go knight f6. If c4, maybe I'll play a Budapest. This is in the Black Gambit's course, the Budapest Gambit. It's a very interesting gambit. It's only against c4 though, d4, c4. So I'm gonna play knight g4. It's the main line. Opponent is letting me go bishop c5, which forces e3, which I like. I like these lines. After e3, knight c6, and I'm gonna try to win the pawn back without allowing the dark squared bishop any activity. Now, a move like queen d5 is possible, but queen e7 is just holding everything, so that's not a thing. Here, most people play bishop e2. And there's a very interesting idea here when you win this pawn back. At the end of everything, it's to play a5, rook a6, rook h6. This is all in the Gambit's course. Castles, knight. You can also take on e5 first, but castling is fine. So I think this is the move. Knight takes. And here I think you're not supposed to take. I think that's kind of how it goes. I think you're supposed to go knight c3. There you go. I am going to take. And then knight e5. This is my attempt to get the bishop or the pawn. And I believe that now there is a5 with the idea to play rook a6 and rook h6. Many people here will play a3 or b3 because they're like, what are you doing? I don't want you to push on my queen side. And they do not realize that your whole purpose of life is to play rook a6 and rook h6. So one of my favorite maneuvers. It catches a lot of people off guard. Another very common move here is f4. So there it is. And here we go with rook a6. I love this move. This is such an awesome move. It almost looks like you're just insulting your opponent. It doesn't look like it makes any sense. But once you rotate your rook over and just start an attack, a lot of people just get super confused. And this is kind of like where my knowledge of the opening runs out. From here on out, it's just we have to play. For example, I'm not really sure what to do if knight a4 happens. Sort of hoping I just figure it out. I don't know if I'm going to go back. Wow, h3 is like really asking for it. h3. Seriously. I'm like shocked. I have this, which attacks the queen and forces it to move somewhere. Rook h6, is e4 the idea? Like, is this the idea to attack my rook somehow? It doesn't look like the worst idea in the world, but it does open up my bishop. I mean, I think I'm going to do it. It's part of my plan. Rook g6 doesn't have a threat yet. This doesn't either, but I really want to force this move because it's a nice move for white. It looks like, haha, I got you. But in reality, you just open up my bishop to attack your king also, and I'm not sure you're very happy about that, but could be. Now, again, perfect world, I go d6 and just uncork a sacrifice. That would be the gangster way of winning this position. To play d6 and bishop h3, there are also moves like f5 to activate my other rook and control e4. But this is always a thing. Like, this sort of stabilizes everything. And in many lines, you've already played this move, so you can't play a5, rook h6. But here, a5, rook h6, rook h6. But here you can. Knight e4. That attacks my bishop. Now, I don't know where I want to retreat it. I also don't know if I want to trade it. Like, I can play d6, but that trades queens. So I'm not thrilled about that. If I go back to a7, it looks a little dumb. It looks a little dumb. I can't really lie. That doesn't look like a normal thing to do. But neither does where my rook is standing also doesn't look normal. But this blocks everything, so... bishop e7. I don't know. I'm thinking bishop a7. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this. Now, c5 blocks out my bishop, but it permanently glues the knight to defend the bishop, and I don't think it's a very good move. I have moves like d5 to just immediately deal with it. f4 looks playable. That's such a slow move. b3. Okay, now I just want to go here. I could have also maybe started calculating aggressive stuff with f5, but I like this. It really stabilizes my knight. It opens up this sacrifice. It stops c5. Everything looks good after d6. Like, my whole position actually starts making sense once I can play the move d6. Now this is on the way. Also, f5 is on the way. If bishop goes here, it stops guarding this, which is really nice in a lot of positions. That becomes a lot weaker. Yeah, this is a super cool idea. So, also in the courses, and you know, if you're watching 80 minutes into this video and I still haven't convinced you that the Black Gambit's repertoire is the best way to smash people's faces with a brick, other than smashing people's faces with an actual brick, which I do not condone, then you should probably invest in it. Okay, queen h4. That just is screaming at me. That move needs to happen now. Now bishop b2 will run into bishop e3. Takes. And bishop h3 and takes just, I think, wins on the spot. In fact, I wonder if I could have taken, and then played queen h4 to try to take. There might have been bishop g4 there. Don't sack a piece unless you're guaranteed to get something nice out of it. Like, Yeah, black's position is making a lot more sense every move that's going on. So 2074, but we are making a lot of progress in this position with this Budapest gambit. Queen d5. So the idea of that move is that if we take queen h3, there is queen to g2. Correct. That is 100% accurate. But do we have something that we can do to, like, not have that happen? Not trade queens? Queen d5 is a nice idea. White is just basically trying to trade queens. And I don't blame them. Take, queen h3, queen g2. I've had positions where I sacrifice the queen. Sorry, not the queen. The piece, and then I just hang out. I, like, don't do anything. I just sort of hang out over there. But that's very risky. You really need to be delivering a definitive blow before you go and sacrifice pieces. So I don't want to condone that behavior. There is one nice thing about this position. It's the fact that I can always play a4, just sort of hidden in everything. Point being that if takes, this is really soft. I have moves like bishop e6. I don't like queen e4 at all. I don't want to trade queens. My stubbornness might land me in a bad situation, though. I'm thinking to throw in, like, a rook here. That does stop a queen trade, I have to say. Rook g6, if queen e4, I take, and play bishop h3. Now, queen a5 is an awful move. I think queen a5 would, like, lose on the spot. It just doesn't look like it makes any sense at all to send the queen over there when you are in the middle of just getting 5 pieces thrown toward your king. It just, no way it makes sense, but sometimes I think I understand chess, and then it turns out I don't, so. C6 could be an idea now. I don't think moving the king to the H file would solve. Wow. But I'm, like, right there. Is that actually okay? Can you actually play like this? Maybe king h8 to enable my f-pawn moving. Also c6, queen e4. I'm in shock. People can play like this. Shocked, I tell you. Shocked. Wow. I'm, like, kind of devastated. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm gonna go king h8. I want to move my f-pawn. That's my idea. And I think my opponent's gonna play queen e4. There is no f4 because g3. Maybe I should have just been throwing in this move at all times, just to soften up that c4 pawn a little bit for the endgame, but we'll see. We'll see. And there's no sacrifices yet. If queen e4, I'll probably slide back somewhere, or to h6, or to g5. Actually, queen e4, queen g5 kind of appeals, because then there's no f4. Queen f4... Queen f4 I missed. Yeah, queen f4 I missed. Queen g5, queen f4. I missed this move. Oops. So now there is this, which is like a hilarious move. There's also knight g4. Really trying not to trade queens here. There's also maybe rook g4 in some positions. What about bishop g4? Here, knight takes, king g1, f5. I'm pinned there. I don't like that. Maybe queen f6. Just threatening to check and win a rook. It's not the stupidest idea I've ever had. This. Bishop b2 doesn't actually stop the threat, really, because I can still play knight f3 and then take the bishop. But yeah, I mean, I'm very perplexed. I don't exactly know what is occurring here anymore. I've confused myself. I've confused my opponent. I think my opponent just blundered, but I'm not even I'm not even 100% certain anymore. The queen is hanging, but my threat was knight f3 and to take on a1, which I think I'm going to do now. So this is nice, of course. And now I am up a rook for a piece. And yet I'm still not confident. I mean, I can always come back. Now I do want a queen trade. Now I have one material. Now that I have one material, I definitely want a trade of queens, but my rook is hanging. Rook. Tough position. Very tough. I'm gonna go here. Man, there's like queen e7. It's queen e7, like it's not... I think I'm in some trouble, to be honest. I'm gonna have to be extremely precise. Rook d1 I was not afraid of. But there is no threat with this bishop, which is sort of weird. Queen e5, take, the knight is hanging. I'm gonna do that. I think I need to get out. I'm going to get out. It helps that my opponent only has 3 minutes. Okay, that move I really don't like. I think it straight up hangs a knight. I see this. But there is then the opening of this. So for example, g5 and like rook d2, and if I take, my queen gets pinned. So g5, rook d2, I need to deal with that pin somehow. Maybe something with the bishop on f5 or something. Or f6. But then bishop b2 anyway. Wow. Definitely a bit lucky, but I'm going to do it. Definitely going to do it. It looks like I'm going to win. It looks like it. So maybe my opponent will just freak out. It's so hard to find like rook d2 or queen c2 here. But you really want to do this, so it's not the hardest move to find. Because you really want it to happen. So finding like a danger levels but a move lagging is... It's not completely outlandish for the level that we're at. Look at that. That is a very creative move to play bishop b2. That is a sneaky move. I think I will go f6. There is bishop b2. Queen f5. Now I have some pressure over here. So knight d5, I might have this g4 move. g4 wins. It wins a piece, I think. What a position. Like the king is here, so g4 is lurking to trap this bishop, because this can't take. Crazy position. 2 minutes for white, though. Whoa! g4 themselves. I didn't even think of that. Wow. Damn. It's a great move. Yeah, I mean, that stops exactly what I want to happen. I guess I gotta go to d7. And now I've put myself in a little bit of a spot here, because knight h5 is also looking really nice for white to just plant the knight. I'll have to maybe bring the bishop back to b8 or something. Knight d3. I want to unpin, but I also want to get my queen out of danger. Let's go queen e7. Get the queen out of the pin. Maybe king g8 f5 is the idea. Get out of this pin and then use the opening of the position against white. Tough fight. It's good that the knight can't end up here. Both the other squares are completely taken. a4, too slow. I think that move is too slow. I'm going to play king g8. I'm going to continue with my plan. I don't even think that b4 does anything. Because if you take on a5, go ahead, take it. Yeah, take it. Sure, knight b4 can happen, but I'm going to go c6. to block out your bishop, to spike your knight from ever getting to d5. And I want to play either f5 or bishop b8 and d5. Plus, at this point, time is everything. We're up 1 minute and 10 seconds against 1 minute and 20. We're up. Not we have, but we are up. And we are safe. I think our king is safe, and my god, am I tired. This is very tiring. This is the most intense episode I've ever filmed. Normally, I'm done at this time. Here's bishop b8. Where's the king going? Where's the king going? You go to g2, that's brave. That is very brave. Okay, opponent is feeling brave. That's good. It's good to feel brave. How about rook h4 and h5? My bishops are about to really uncork some damage here. All it takes is one pawn move, like d5. h5 is on the way. Opponent is trying to get me to open my bishops. Okay, that's a unique strategy. Now my dark squared bishop came alive and I got a free pawn. h5. This was always the idea. And now if pawn takes, bishop h3 is a knockout punch. That's a check. I can block like this. Then there's queen c5. And then there's bishop here. Oh, there's also queen c7 to try to go all the way over there. That also looks good. But I think if I play queen c7, there could be e5. But then I think I take on g4. Let's do it. Queen c7 to look at that. Look at that vision. I'm not saying I have good vision. I'm just saying, oh, opponent missed it? I'm trying to set up this and mate. That would be really nice. I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, opponent panicked and has lost the bishop, and yeah, it's bad now. It's Olympus has fallen. Do I have a mate? I'd really like to have a checkmate. I don't see a checkmate somehow, so I think I'm just going to be patient and slowly build up to one, like with g3. Yeah, unfortunately, the a-pawn's not going to scare me enough to create enough counterplay. Okay, I guess I'll take on f2, and bishop h3 is a serious problem. It's still not over somehow. Oh, it is, it is. I have a nice checkmate. Okay, I was gonna go here, 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 here. And then if this, then queen g3 is mate. That's really nice. That's a nice mate. That was a very, very good game. That was an excellent game. I'm very curious if I had missed any attacking chances, like around here, queen d5. No, actually, computer likes rook g6. It likes queen h4 too. It actually thinks that yeah, look, the top engine move here is a4, switching the whole nature of the game of attacking to damaging the structure. That is so amazing. I actually had a feeling, right? I did say a4 to completely mess up that structure, flank pawn sacrifice to damage everything. And I didn't do it. And I allowed my opponent to actually get a decent position. And then they blundered. And even after that blunder, the machine thinks that here, if queen e7 had been played, the evaluation is 0.0. It thinks that I would have to go here, give this pawn up, and then we play a game where I have a knight and a rook for a knight and a pawn. But yeah, wow, what a game. Once I started getting this and kind of blocking up the position, I thought I was making some progress. Looks like g4, even though I thought it was a good move, is a terrible move. Wow. Rook d5 is winning for white. Rook d5. So that this. Oh, I didn't see that at all. I mean, that is ridiculous. Jeez. I hate computers. They're the worst. How many games have I played with... Oh, I have to be black in the next game. All right, here we go. This is the highest rated player that I've ever played in one of these episodes. A player who is higher rated than me in Rapid. E4. What do I play? G6, or do I go for a Caro-Kann? I will go for a Caro-Kann defense. I'll go for a Caro-Kann defense. C4. Played by my opponent. What is my opponent thinking? There's nothing else that you can do here. What? What is this? What is that move? I am so confused. Now This is an exchange Caro. I don't know what this is. I've never seen this in my life. We're playing against the structure, basically. I really want to go queen b6. I mean, that move just screaming at me. What is wrong with this move? This is like a Caro Kann advanced variation, but I haven't blocked my bishop in at all. Like, in the advanced variation of the Caro Kann with this structure, you are not supposed to have bishop mobility. For example, in a French defense, like right now if I play e6, we're kind of in a French. This move is trying to counterattack this pawn. If I play queen d4, take, knight d5, knight c2, we're both going to lose some rooks. But if I play knight d4, bishop e3, does that just win the game? Bishop e3, pinning me? Interesting. I guess I have to go here. I mean, I don't know if I have to do that, but seems like the logical thing to do. I have no idea what's going on there. What is going on after queen d4? I'm gonna play queen d4. I don't. This is so weird. What has my opponent done? What have they done? Like, what is this? I don't know. I mean, it seems only natural to go for the fork, take the rook, give up my own rook. I don't know. This is like prep? This is all like prep? Like what is going on? I have to do the same thing probably, right? Maybe I can run my king to c6. Okay, let's go here. We have a totally similar position, completely symmetrical, except I guess I can go save my knight. Can't I play bishop f5 and try to save my knight? To try to get out with knight c2? That looks pretty appealing. I'm not gonna lie. Bishop f5 to get my knight some help looks pretty good. And who is getting this knight any help? Bishop e3? To try to take a7? I can go b6? Or like here and just let them take and just get a massive lead in development? I don't know. This is a weird position. Very, very weird. Very weird position. I mean, I am unbelievably confused. I have never seen this in my life. I've never seen e5 in my life. I've probably played like a couple thousand Caro Kann games. I've never seen this. So I'm just trying to play on what I think is right. I'm trying to get this knight and get this knight. So that's the plan. I get a couple moves, king c8, king b8, that knight is dead. I'm thinking I gotta preserve my knight somehow. I always have bishop b1, which is a hilarious move. Just put my bishop on b1 to try to take the pawn and escape. And king c8, king b8 is still on the cards. So, you know, I've played my opponent a few times. They're higher rated than rapid. I guess they play more rapid than me. But, you know, I'm 10-2, okay, in blitz against my opponent. I've won 10, I've lost 2. So, I think that a bit of the element of this is respecting my openings a bit too much, and my opponent is trying to play something weird and wacky to get me out of kind of prep. But that can backfire because you're trying a little too hard to create something that's weird. Like, I'm going to go b6 now, and so there's a couple of problems. First of all, your knight is completely dead. But so is mine, admittedly. So now I'm thinking knight c2. To get out. Get the knight out. Knight c2 to get the knight out. Get the bishop. This is kind of the whole plan. I mean, there go the rescue operations, trying to get that knight out. I could be losing time, though. I haven't developed much, so if the opponent plays like knight f3, could actually be something there. But still, this knight has no moves. It's completely stuck. I don't know. g4 here is bad because takes and bishop e4, and resigns. Yeah, bishop e4 was always something. Actually, bishop e4, I was thinking knight f3. I don't know. Maybe bishop e4 was just winning there. Why not play bishop e4? Bishop e4, this is trapped. Knight f3, bishop a8. That might have just... Oh, but then king up. Then king up. King up and yeah. So the thing is that white needs 2 moves to get my knight. That's it. And it's better for me to just rescue it, then go for the knight, because I think I have time to do that. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired. Anybody watching after 100 minutes? How are you enjoying? Write a comment. Even if you don't usually comment, write a comment. Write that you usually don't comment, but you appreciate the content or something. This is hard work. An hour and 40 minutes straight of going up against killers, some of the highest rated subscribers that I have. There's knight f3. That's the move that I was expecting. And yeah, I'm just going to take because I don't know why I wouldn't. Bishop e4 now runs into knight g5, which is not thrilling. If I take this, there is knight f7 and I lose. So that's bad. Which makes me think I should play a move like knight h6 or e6 to play knight h6, which also looks good. Yeah, like this. And now knight h6 always covers f7. So if knight g5, I can't go bishop e4, but at least I'm not getting forked. And now I block out this bishop, and all endgames this is a bad structure. I think this is an opening experiment gone wrong for my opponent. But the game is not over. I still need to be precise. Speaking of, king c8, check, king b8, rook c1. Don't I lose? Wow. 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 Wow, that's not good. I don't want to lose. Losing is... No, I don't want to lose. That's bad. Should I go bishop e7? The idea of bishop e7 is that after rook d1, king c8, if there is this check, I have king b8 and there's no back rank mate. There's no back rank mate. But I'm so tired, I can barely see straight. Rook d7 in that position? No, that doesn't work. Bishop e7 looks very logical. The other idea is something with the knight. Knight, check, king c8, here. No, that's bad. I gotta go here. I need to cover rook d8. This also could be bad. There might be something with rook c1, which I just completely overlooked. But I don't think so. Although, rook c1 and the knight is protected as it tries to escape, which is kind of annoying. That is annoying. So for example, rook c1, knight h6, the bishop moves, and the knight gets out. I did not actually trap the knight. We'll see. We'll see what happens. There's bishop e4 though. Rook c1, bishop e4. So there is this move. Bishop e4. Then there's knight c7, and the bishop, there's a discovered check with the bishop that wins back the material. So maybe I should just go knight h6. Knight h6, bishop a6 to try to play rook c8. I have king d7. Could be a draw, but also could be me just getting destroyed. Oh my god. I gotta be really careful here. Oh, you know what I have? Unless I'm stupid, which very well could be the case, given how tired I am. Bishop e4? I guess there's also bishop a6. Oh my god. There's so much stuff here, which is so unpleasant for me. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna hope my opponent blunders this move. That's what it's come to. It's come to hope chess. It has come to hope chess. I did expect this, and now I was thinking to just block it all. Just bishop c5. Oh, but now there's knight g5 again. Just when I thought I was out of the woods. Knight g5 is probably winning for white. Probably. Bishop c5 is not a good move. I completely forgot that white can do this. Bishop g6, there's b4. Basically just trying to kick me out. Maybe I'll play h6. No, I won't. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. This is not good. But I am still going to try to stubbornly defend. I'm not going to create some total mess like knight g5. If I take the knight, I get forked. I play king e7. They take. Knight h6. This is bad. I don't want to lose my rook. Knight g5, I'm just going to go here. Take the L. Take the L. Right off into the sunset. I think my opponent's calculating b4 and just is completely blanking on this move. Or just doesn't think that knight g5 works, which would be extremely nice for me. But I think it very much does work. And I think I'm very much in trouble if it's played. But there are some draws. There's some perpetual checks I think I saw. I'm fascinated what the computer's going to say about this game afterward, but it's a mind bender of a game. More time my opponent spends, the better. I'm so happy just sitting here, and I thought bishop c5 completely blocked white's plan and completely just blanked on this, and there is b4, and I am not sure that's the best move. I had calculated, what did I calculate after b4? So I was so ready to like resign, basically, that I completely forgot that I like still have to play chess. Okay, so here I was gonna go bishop a8, take on c5, and then maybe take the knight and something with knight to e7. Something like that. Let's do this. If I take on c5, this might still be possible. I don't know if I actually want to allow that. If I play knight e7 right away, this might still be possible. I'm not sure I want to allow that. But if I take on f3, is it actually an endgame that I want to play? I think it makes my life significantly simpler to capture that thing, but... So now king c7 is a move. Just move my king. Because right now, the threat is to take and play rook c8. So I can play knight e7, which stops that. I can play king c7, takes, and the bishop is hanging. Doesn't look like completely stupid. It's a draw, though, probably, if I do that. And if I play knight e7 like this, and I take with the pawn... I don't know about a draw. It might just be much worse in that position. I think I might have to play king c7. I don't like taking on c5. So I think I'm going to go here. I think I should activate my king. Take. Is there rook c8? That would be so savage. No way. No way. Take. See, I only calculated take, and bishop moves. There might be take, rook c8, and I'm paralyzed. That sucks. Oh my gosh. And that just... I mean, I can get out, but it's going to take time. Maybe it's a draw. But wow. That is really scary. That is extremely scary. See, the reason that I did it like this is that the bishop has to go away. If my king gets here and attacks the bishop, I thought the bishop has to leave, which gives me time to bring my knight and stabilize. Had I played knight e7 here, there could be like c6 and then bishop b5, and I never get out. I just never get out. There also could be takes and e4, and my king doesn't get active. And if my king doesn't get active, I can't activate the rest of my pieces. So my logic was I need to get my king active so the rest of my pieces have breathing room, and my king is not stuck on the back rank. If my opponent plays rook c8, I'm going to freak out. Okay, they didn't. Knight e7, and this is what I was saying, this might be a draw. Rook b1, rook c1, king b6. Okay, they're not interested in a draw, which I like. Or don't like. I don't know, maybe I hate it. Rook c8 is a rook trade. It's an offer. I'm not saying that they're going to do it. They want rook b1, rook b7. That's what my opponent wants. I don't blame them. Should I go knight d5? This could be the best move. Enter a rook endgame with pawns, and I think white is better. Actually, I think white is a lot better. After that, that might have been a pretty inaccurate decision on my part to play knight d5. Luckily, my opponent only has a minute to convert this game. Yeah, I completely missed this. Being tired will do that, huh? I have to play this very ugly defense now, and it's not even defense. I'm losing. This is a losing endgame. My king is cut off and my rook can't guard anything. All right, let's play 7th rank defense. That's what we're going to try to do. This is what I want. I want something with rook going to c7. So let me play a5. They might even play... Okay, they didn't play a4. So I can't trade rooks. I'm going to activate my king. I'm going to activate my rook. And I'm going to try to play this endgame just simply up a minute, but in a totally losing situation. I mean, there's really not much else I can do here, unfortunately. g6 to try to prevent f5. And... maybe we give a check or something. I don't know. Let's push this pawn. Maybe if we get this pawn pretty far, we can feel good about ourselves or something. Should I go win it with the king, or what do I do? King b4, e6. This is coming. Gotta be really careful. Rook c4. Oh, man. See, if I go down here, just e6 is just winning for my opponent. I might just go with my king. I'm not confident I can hold this. It's probably just totally lost, to be honest. Yeah, I don't see a way to hold this. I just don't see it. I'm gonna try to take this, and then try to take this, and maybe what I can do is get 2nd rank defense. Go defend from the other side while my opponent has like no time. That's an idea. Like e7, rook e2 is an idea. And like get this pawn with my king. It's the only thing that I can really envision working here. Here's rook e2. And I take. And maybe this is the way, but I don't know. Ah, the king just goes there. Yeah, this is just winning. This is just winning for white. I don't know. I mean, I have no moves. Here, I guess you have to play this out, but tragic. I'm so mean. I'm gonna resign. I'm not gonna... They deserve it. They deserve it. That was a good game. I'm gonna say good game. Not gonna flag you in unrated rapid. That was a tough game. Wow. I really wonder where it went wrong. Well, actually, this endgame is just losing. Knight d5 was a really bad move. Really bad move. And that's instructive that you can convert this by cutting off the king and walking the king forward. Yeah, that's... I just got... I took my foot, like... I mean, I took my eye off the ball for a move. F5 here is, like, probably the way to go. Yeah, I should have played F5. Oh, 30 minutes in, I think I play F5. 2 hours in, I definitely don't play F5. And try to play F5 again. And try to, like, get this bishop off the center. That was good. That was tough. And I don't know what that opening was. That was so strange. Apparently, it was bad for me to... Apparently, I should just play bishop F5. Wow. I was so confused. Good game. That was a wild one. Code Sweet 16. And, yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go rest.